the only thing standing in the way from Kamala Harris casting the final vote for a U.S. Supreme Court Justice nominee. Please join me in welcoming a woman who fights every day for you, our American values, and for Georgia in particular. Please welcome our U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler.
Hello, Milton. How are you? All right, I have an important question for you. Are you ready to show America that Georgia's a red state? Yes! All right, we're ready to go. You know, Georgia, we're the firewall. This is the battleground for the entire country. The future of the country is on the line. That's why we are going to hold the line. Say it with me, hold the line. That's what we're going to do. Because you heard President Trump, he was here 2 weeks ago. He said, Georgia, you have to get out and vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. You have to exercise your right to vote. Because look, if we don't vote, we won't just lose. We will lose the country. And the eyes of the nation are on us, Georgia. We're going to get this done together. Because you heard Chuck Schumer. He said he's going to take Georgia and change America. Well, of course, we're not going to, that's right, we're not going to stand for that. We don't want high taxes, big government, socialism, all the things he wants to bring right here in Georgia. We're fighting back against that every single day because it's not just radical policies, it's radical candidates. In my own race, radical liberal Raphael Warnock has called, he's called our police officers gangsters, thugs, bullies, and a threat to our children. He said we should open up the prisons and let everyone out. We should eliminate cash bail. Well, that's wrong for Georgia. I say God bless our men and women of law enforcement. Thank you, law enforcement. And you know, he's gone a step further. He said that you can't serve God and the military. Now, I'm the daughter and granddaughter of veterans, and I want to give a big shout out to all of our veterans and active duty military here. Can we hear it? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, and here's another sad fact. I asked if he would denounce Marxism and socialism, and he declined to do that. You know why? Because he believes in it. He wrote a book and mentioned Marxism, praised it 100 times. He also welcomed Fidel Castro, yes, the murderous Marxist dictator, into his church. And he celebrated Jeremiah Wright, the same Jeremiah Wright that condemned America, the anti-Israel Jeremiah Wright. That's not right for us. I say, God bless America, God bless Donald J. Trump. So you see what's at stake here, Georgia. You know that's why you're here. You are great patriots for being here. David Perdue and I, like the president, are political outsiders. We're business people who know how to create jobs, who want that opportunity for everyone, to lift everyone up, to live the American dream. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for him every... That's right. That's right. That's what we are going to do every single day. That's why we have to get out and vote. We are going to show America this is a red state. We are going to keep fighting for President Trump every single day. That's right. Look, this president fought for us. We're going to fight for him right here in Georgia. We have a big job, though, Georgia. We need you to get out and vote early. If you vote early, don't vote alone. Make sure that you bring your friends, your family, your coworkers. Bring people you don't even like. Make sure that they vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. And like my good friend Marsha Blackburn says, you need to make 5 calls a day to keep the liberals away. So call 5 of your friends every day. 5 calls a day keeps the liberals away. Get everyone you know out to vote. We got to get it done, Georgia. The future of the country is on the line right here. You are the firewall. I know you're going to get it done. Now, I know that together, we are going to show America this is a red state. Together, we're going to stop socialism right here in America. And together, we are going to save our country. So let me say, I am so proud to introduce David Perdue, the original outsider in Washington, fighting every single day. keep fighting for you, Georgia. You're fighting for us. We're fighting for the president. So without further ado, I am bringing my colleague, David Perdue, the original outsider. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Kelly. Hello, Milton. Hey, guys, in early 2016, there were only 2 members of the United States Senate in Washington that supported Donald Trump for president. And you're looking at one of them right here. Guys, the eyes of America, and I would argue the eyes of the world, are on us right now. Look, I fought with President Trump to get elected. I fought alongside him to get this agenda done. And I'm still fighting alongside of him to make sure he finally gets a fair accounting in this state, right? But my job right now, and Kelly's job, in addition to that, is to make darn sure that we do not give up these 2 seats in Georgia to Chuck Schumer. The eyes of America are indeed on us. The eyes of future generations are on us. But you don't have to listen to me to learn what's at stake. Just listen to Chuck Schumer. Chuck said, take Georgia and change America. Well, we have a little message for Chuck today. We ain't ready to give Georgia up, are we? But the best, I love this the best. AOC said, oh, no, we have to have those 2 seats in Georgia because we don't want to negotiate. Really? She said, oh, yeah, we want the Green New Deal without compromise. And the best, really the best, is Stacey Abrams said, oh, yeah, the big blue wave is going to take over Georgia and change Georgia. The big blue wave is going to take over the South and change the South. The big blue wave is going to take over America and change America. And she said, and we're going to do it with documented and undocumented voters. Not on our watch, guys. If you listen to what Chuck Schumer has said, it tells us what's at stake. Number one, he wants to change the voting rules in the Senate so he can go to a one-party system. He wants to add D.C. and Puerto Rico as 2 new states, adds 4 Democratic seats. He wants to stack the Supreme Court. He wants to do away eventually with the Electoral College. What he's describing is a one-party system that's failed everywhere in history that it's been tried. But you don't have to look at history. Just look at Venezuela today, Cuba, North Korea, Iran. How many people do you know trying to break into Venezuela right now? That's what they're trying to perpetrate on our dear, beloved America. But there's another reason. In the last 4 years, we have proven what we believe in as conservative really works. We pulled back on regulation. We passed a tax bill that made us competitive with the rest of the world. Guys, thanks to Donald Trump, we're energy independent today and produce more oil and gas than any other country in the world. And we saved our small banks, without which we would not have been able to help small businesses through the COVID crisis that saved 1.5 million jobs right here in Georgia. But guys, don't listen to me. Don't even listen to Chuck. Listen to somebody that really was concerned about the future of America. It was decades ago when Ronald Reagan told us what was at stake right now today in 2020. He said that freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. We don't pass it down in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and passed on, or one day in our sunset years, we'll be telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in America we're free. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't challenge us any more than Ronald Reagan did. Our moment is now. Every generation has its moment of trial. Ours is right now. What kind of America are we going to leave to our children and our grandchildren? It's up to us right now on January the 5th. If you get out and vote early, your grandchildren will be so proud of what you did on January 5th, 2021. We have got to stand in the breach and hold the line against socialism. And thanks to you, we will win Georgia and save America. God bless you guys. Thank you. Now, it's my high honor to bring our special guest up here today. She came all the way to Georgia for this meeting. This young woman has been such an inspiration to me and my wife. She has been a mother, a husband, and a champion for her father's agenda. Please, let's give her a warm Georgia welcome to Ivanka Trump.
Okay, let's see if this works. There we go. See, my children would love to have a mic they could turn off, but unfortunately, it is amazing, amazing, amazing to be back here in this incredible state of Georgia with so many American patriots. I see you all out there who love our country, cherish our families, and salute our flag. On the way over here, I spoke to my father, our president, and he asked me to tell you that he loves Georgia and he will never stop fighting for you. Never stop. Today, I'm proud to be here with two more fighters and great friends of mine, Senators David Perdue and Sen Loeffler. We need David and Kelly in Washington to protect all that America stands for. This is the most important congressional runoff in our nation's history. Georgia will decide which party controls the United States Senate. You will decide which party writes our laws, which party holds congressional hearings, and which party spends your hard-earned taxpayer dollars. Georgia will decide whether our children will grow up under an oppressive government or whether America will remain the land of the free. I think we know that answer, Georgia. I think we know what Georgia's going to decide. While Democrats are focused on making Americans dependent on Washington, David and Kelly are focused on liberating each individual and freeing them to thrive. Important differentiation, so important. With the help of every single person here today and millions of people across this great state, I am confident that Senators David Perdue and Sen Loeffler will keep the Senate Republican and win a historic victory for American liberty. Early voting is happening now. Get your friends, get your neighbors, get your neighbors' friends, get everyone you know, or as Kelly said, even the people you don't like, pick them up, make amends, get them out, and vote, vote, vote. Kelly and David are working incredibly hard to make sure that this election is safe and secure and that every single legal vote is counted. Let's make this an election that America remembers forever. An election where Georgia Republicans vote early and in record numbers. People fight the hardest for what they love the most. The reason my father is fighting so hard, the reason my father will not stop fighting, is because he loves you, the American people. Look at that flag. My father, our president, is the voice in Washington for the forgotten men and women of this nation. Far too many Americans and Georgians feel that their voice has been silent and that their vote has been canceled. We must send David and Kelly back to the Senate to defend election integrity and protect American democracy. And fight for Trump. Senators, great Americans right here. Thank you. Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are both fearless fighters for Georgia family, farmers, veterans, service members, and of course, our brave and amazing men and women in blue. They deserve that hand. David Perdue was one of the greatest champions of the President's America First agenda. He helped us secure the largest tax cuts and reform in American history, and I personally worked incredibly closely with David to double the child tax credit, which last year alone put more than $2,000 in the pockets of 40 million American families. That's impact. Senator Perdue helped us pass a record $2.5 trillion to rebuild the United States military and give our service members the pay raise they'd been waiting for and that they deserve. He voted to confirm over 300 Trump-appointed judges. And these judges, they will uphold and defend the Constitution as written. As it should be. Since Kelly Loeffler came to the Senate 1 year ago, she has also worked tirelessly for the great people of Georgia. One of her very first votes was in support of the President's trade deal with the US, Mexico, and Canada, the USMCA, fulfilling one of the President's most important promises, and one of the reasons he came to Washington in the first place, to fight for American workers, for American farmers, for American families, who had been sold under the bus by politicians who at best weren't very good at their jobs, at worst had sold out to special interests. He fought for these trade deals, and this trade deal supports over 10 million American jobs. Actually, 400,000 of them are right here in the state of Georgia. 400,000 jobs. When the plague struck our nation, Kelly helped pass a bill getting Congress to move, which is not so easy, in a matter of weeks, $3 trillion of economic relief. As part of that was the critically important Paycheck Protection Program, which saved 1.5 million Georgian jobs. They are actually headed back to Washington this afternoon, which is why our schedule this afternoon got pulled down to vote to get more money into the Paycheck Protection Program and support America's small businesses, the backbone of our communities, which are also the employers of 47% of American workers. Got to support our small businesses, got to get the vaccine distributed, got to support our great farmers, $26 billion of food aid and farm relief. It's extraordinary. So David and Kelly are going back to Washington, and they'd far prefer to be right here in Georgia with all of you, as would I. But they don't forget what they're fighting for. A few months ago, Kelly voted to confirm America's newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Amy Coney Barrett. David and Kelly are champions of American workers and families. Their opponents are too extreme for Georgia. If Ossoff and Warnock win Georgia, Democrats will gain control of the US Senate, and they will enact the most radical socialist agenda in American history. They've said it. They've said it. They will abolish the Senate filibuster, pack the Supreme Court, end border security, raise your taxes, and impose more job-crushing regulations on American workers and families. The Georgia Senate seats that we are fighting so hard to protect are the last line of defense against this agenda and to save America's future. On January 5th, starting with early votes today, Georgia will send a resounding message to Washington, D.C. American patriotism is alive and well in Georgia. And Georgia will keep freedom alive in America. Over the past 4 years, Republicans have created the most inclusive economy in American history. During President Trump's first 3 years in office, 72% of all new jobs were secured by people on the sidelines of our economy. On the sidelines, they were totally outside of the workforce, not even on unemployment. They came back into the workforce because for the first time in decades, wages were rising. Employers were investing in the skills and the training of their workers and getting creative about where they were hiring. An extraordinary success story. Through our pledge to America's workers, we called upon the private sector to hire and train 16 million Americans for the jobs of today and the jobs of tomorrow. The president said, "Step up, do more," and they responded. Right now, we're working with the president on something that he's very passionate about and I share his passion for, which ensuring vocational education is available in every high school in America. Almost there, almost there. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler will advance school choice for all Americans. We as a society have a duty to ensure that every child has a chance to pursue their dreams, achieve their potential, and build up this extraordinary nation. The Democrats' economic plan would cost the average family over $6,000. In President Trump's first 3 years in office, the median household income increased by over $6,000. Unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, you name a demographic, and it had achieved historic lows. Americans without a high school degree achieved historic low levels of unemployment. Disabled Americans, lowest level of unemployment in recorded history. Simply extraordinary. Under the Trump administration, nearly 75 million women were employed, the most in history. At the onset of the pandemic, President Trump launched the largest scientific and industrial mobilization in history. Thanks to America's medical genius, the mortality rate in this country from COVID has declined by 85% since April of this year. Through the wildly successful Operation Warp Speed, we have achieved the impossible. We used to say, and I heard a loud hand for energy independence, I should say energy dominance, because we no longer have to rely on foreign nations for our energy needs. They used to say that was impossible. But getting a vaccine from start to finish that's safe and effective in 9 months is extraordinary. Unheard of. The quickest that had been done prior was 4 years, the quickest. Amazing. By the end of this week, we will have delivered more than 10 million doses of the vaccine across the nation, including over 300,000 right here in the state of Georgia. And it's ramping up. I want to take a moment to thank many of you in this audience who I'm sure are doctors, nurses, scientists, service members, manufacturing workers, and drivers who have selflessly worked around the clock to ensure that this vaccine gets distributed. And the work is just ramping up in the months ahead. We're grateful for everything you have done since the onset of this pandemic and everything that you will be doing going forward as we bring about its closure. In the early days of the pandemic, My father was watching as America's great crops were going to waste. They were being literally tilled under because supply chains had been severed. They lost distributions to restaurants that had closed, to hotels which had closed, and family farms were suffering while people were going hungry. And there were lines around the block. In a lot of cases, people had never been to a food bank in their life and never had sought this type of relief. The president called me and asked me to work with Secretary Perdue, a great, great governor from here in Georgia, and of course Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler, to ensure that we fixed this problem and that we got this amazing produce, bags and boxes, now over 125 million of them, from America's family farms directly to the most vulnerable and those in need. Fresh produce, fresh dairy, fresh meat. It was an extraordinary effort. It was amazing. And I've seen it in action here in Georgia, where over 5 million boxes have been delivered into the hands of families in need. It's amazing. Thank you. You're amazing. While the experts predicted a long and deep economic depression, President Trump took action and saved not only American jobs, American lives. Last quarter, we saw the most rapid period of economic growth in the nation's history, 33.1%. I mentioned this before, but right after this event, Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler will head back to Washington to vote for a crucial financial relief bill and to ensure that American families are assisted all the more. The average family under this new COVID bill will receive $2,400, helping them bridge until we're done and this virus has been vanquished. President Trump has set up America to defeat the virus, end the pandemic, and unleash the greatest economic prosperity in history. And we cannot shut it down. We need David and Kelly in the Senate to keep our economy going, to keep delivering on the president's plans, and to keep our schools open. Please. We need. David and Kelly will also fight tirelessly to keep your community safe. Recently, here in Georgia, law enforcement arrested 8 human traffickers. This is an issue that people were not even discussing before our president came into office. And since then, he has signed into law 9 pieces of legislation to combat human trafficking and online child exploitation. He will not rest until this evil is stamped out once and for all, and it will be. It will be. It's been extraordinary progress, and you see these rings being busted up across the country. And just this past week, Senator Loeffler introduced a piece of legislation to do just that. So we're grateful for her being a champion for some of the most voiceless in communities across the nation, those who are being exploited and those who are being trafficked. So thank you to our senators for that. Right now, here in Georgia, this election is not simply about Republicans versus Democrats. It's about the kind of future we want to leave for our children. I'm confident that the people of Georgia want a future where our children can believe and be proud of American greatness. We want a future where every child can grow up in a safe community and go to a great school of their choice. We want a culture where differences of opinion and debate are encouraged, not canceled, where law enforcement is respected, where our country's rich diversity is celebrated, and where people of all backgrounds, races, genders, and creeds can achieve their God-given potential. This is the future my father is fighting so hard for every single day, and this is the future that David and Kelly are fighting for as well. With your help, USA. With your help, with your help, your voice, and critically, your vote, Georgia will save America. And Georgia will be the first in a new wave of resounding Republican victories. Together, we will reclaim America's future, we will build our nation to even greater heights, and we will keep America great. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Georgia. And God bless America. Thank you.